Welcome everybody to a look at a brand new 4K release from Arrow Video, and it is 1994's In the Mouth of Madness, directed by John Carpenter, and this is one third of his Apocalypse trilogy, the third and final film in that trilogy, and it's preceded by the likes of The Thing and Prince of Darkness. This, for my money, is the second best of the two, with The Thing being the better of the three. So this is a supernatural horror film, clocking in at 95 minutes long, and it stars the likes of Sam Neill, who was in the likes of Possession and Event Horizon, Julie Carmen, who was in Gloria, Jurgen Prochnow, who was in Das Boot and The Keep, David Warner, who was in the likes of The Omen, Waxwork, Nightwing, and From Beyond the Grave. And you've also got in supporting roles the likes of John Glover, Peter Jason, Charlton Heston, and Francis Bay. So easily one of the most ensemble casts that John Carpenter would ever work with. So an insurance investigator visits a small town while looking into the disappearance of a popular horror novelist. He soon finds that the impact of the author's books is far more than inspirational. So I have less of an issue with the final act of this than I have done in the past, while I still enjoy all of the positives that the rest of this has to offer. It is also easily the best post-80s film I've seen from John Carpenter so far. I've only seen 3 of his other ones though, but that said, the likes of Vampires, Escape from LA, and Ghosts of Mars were all awful. And yeah, certainly take away a little bit from his massively successful run from the 70s through to the 80s. That said, the majority of this is superb with its cinematography, editing, practical effects, cast, plot, effective atmosphere, and on-point pacing all working really well together to make for a highly engrossing experience. The funny thing is, this has an even smaller budget than the likes of The Thing, even though that was 12 years prior. So, yeah, it only had a budget of about 8 million, so it's got less to work with, has a bigger cast, or arguably a bigger cast. I guess Sam Neill was just about coming into major prominence after Jurassic Park the year before, but is also doing quite a lot as well in terms of its effects, and yeah, it's obviously got more locales on the go as well. So the fact that it's doing a lot with a lot less in the way of money is really rather impressive, and just shows how good John Carpenter is. That said, I do feel it loses some of its positives as it moves towards its conclusion, but I definitely found this to be a lot more satisfying than I have done in the past, especially with the way it ends. So, yeah, I'm still going to give it 4 out of 5 like I have done before, but yeah, it's a much stronger 4 out of 5, and yeah, I'm a lot more confident that it's closer to a 4.5 than a 3.5 or a 3, for instance. So yeah, this new release from our video is fantastic. It really does rank alongside previous ones that we've seen already, either this month or in previous months this year. You know, we've had Return of the Living Dead, Dark City, and Witness, all of which have been fantastic. And then obviously you've got the you got the Man with No Name trilogy as well. So I think that, quite frankly, our video on a massive roll right now with a 4K limited edition. So yeah, comes with a slipcover, which has all of the guff on the back as usual. And then you got the hard box itself, which has nothing on the reverse outside of the Arrow Video logo, but has the artwork continuing on there, which, yeah, I think is a really rather fantastic bit of artwork, to be honest. Then we also have a booklet with this release, which is kind of an interpretation of 2 different scenes in the film. And then we got one of the Lovecraftian horror creatures on the back there. And yeah, inside we've got Cast and Your Crew. Then we've got The Poetics of Oblivion by Richard Kadrey. It's the End of the World as We Know It by Alexandra West. Once More Unto the Breach, The Many Misshapen Adventures of Sam Neill by Josh Hurtado. Then we got If Life Were Like the Movies by Guy Adams. In the Mouth of Madness, A Self-Induced Hallucination by Willow Cat Caitlin McClay. God is Not a Hack Horror Writer by George Daniel Lay. And about the presentation and production credits as well. So one thing I forgot to mention is that this does have some decent thematic weight to it as well, especially in terms of the influence that media can have, be they films, books, or the print media itself in terms of journalism. So yeah, I think it's really good in that regard as well. So the film was restored by Arrow Films and is presented in its original aspect ratio of 2:39:1 with 5.1 and stereo audio options, so you can choose either one. The film is presented in 4K resolution in HDR10 and Dolby Vision. The original 35mm camera negative was scanned in 4K 16-bit resolution at Warner Brothers Motion Picture Imaging. So apparently Warner Brothers are putting themselves up for sale. So hopefully that whole process doesn't delay any of these releases getting put out there, because obviously Warner Brothers does have a vast catalogue of films out there, and that sale might also be why the Warner Brothers archive collection is currently not up for sale, or they're not putting any more out as far as I'm aware, because I've not been able to find any news about new releases from them. So hopefully this sale from them doesn't delay releases like this, because to be honest, they have, like I said, a great deal of films out there that deserve to be released and restored and such. And the film was restored in 4K resolution and color graded at Duplicitech. All materials sourced for this new master were made available by Warner Brothers, and QC review was completed by Pixel Logic. So yeah, and the restoration was supervised by 2 people from Arrow Films as well. So yeah, like I said, I just hope the sale of Warner Brothers doesn't, completely nuke any of their physical releases, because if it goes to someone like Netflix, then yeah, they'll just probably put a complete stop to any physical releases, to be honest, and you know, gatekeep the content behind their pay subscription, and therefore not be able to get any of the stuff physically anymore. Which, like I said, would be a great shame. There's many of Warner Brothers film out there that still hasn't had a release on Blu-ray or the likes, and there's many of them as well that more than deserve a 4K restoration like this film as well. So we also get a double-sided poster with this release. So we've got the new artwork on the one side, which is, yeah, has the little mouth there at the bottom, which is kind of creepy, and then obviously you have the Cthulhu-like kind of tentacles going on there. And then we also have a poster from the film within a film in this release. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm on about. So there we go, which is really nice. Looks exactly like it does in the film, to be honest. So yeah, pretty good. And then we got the disc itself. So we have got no Blu-ray here. Just the 4K itself. No art cards either, which is a little bit of a shame. I would have liked that on top of the poster, but the poster itself is so good that it mostly makes up for that. So yeah, like I said, brand new 4K restoration, 4K 2160p Ultra HD Blu-ray, presentation in Dolby Vision HDR10 compatible, original lossless DTS HD MA 5.1 and stereo 2.0 audio options, optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, and then we've got archive audio commentary with director John Carpenter and producer Sandy King Carpenter, archive audio commentary with director John Carpenter and director of photography Gary B. Kibbe. Then we got brand new audio commentary by filmmakers Rebecca McKendry and Elric Kane, co-hosts of Colours of the Dark podcast. I imagine that's a kind of, kind of like space horror kind of space horror. Not cosmic horror. That's it. I guess you could say. Imagine. So you got Making Madness, a newly filmed interview with producer Sandy King Carpenter. Do You Read Sutter Kane, a newly filmed interview with actor Jurgen Prochnow. Then we've got The Whisperer of the Dark, an archive interview with actress Julie Carmen. Greg Nicotaro's Things in the Basement, an archive interview with special effects artist Greg Nicotaro. Then we are What He Writes, a new featurette in praise of John Carpenter and In the Mouth of Madness. Reality is Not What It Used to Be, a new appreciation by film scholar Alexandra Heller Nicholas. Horror's Hallowed Grounds, an archive featurette looking at the locations used in the film. Home movies from Hobbs End, behind the scenes footage. The making of In the Mouth of Madness, a vintage featurette, theatrical trailer and TV spots. And yeah, new artwork commissioned by Francesco Francavilla. And yeah, and then you've got the perfect bound booklet as well. So we've got reversible artwork on the sleeve as well, which has the original poster artwork. So obviously you can choose from the new one, but I personally, when I've got the new artwork on the hard box or the sleeve, to reverse over to the original on the actual Blu-ray case or 4K case. So yeah, on the whole, a very, very excellent release overall. 4 out of 5 for the film, like I said, but the film, the presentation is really great. The 4K looks excellent, especially when it comes to a lot of the lighting, cinematography, and editing, and then the sound quality is excellent as well. I played it in the 5.1, but I'm sure the 2.0 stereo is still pretty great as well. So yeah, another fantastic release from our video, to be honest. They are, like I said, on a real roll. I just hope that with Warner Brothers potentially getting sold to a streaming service, that these kind of releases from their archives aren't completely stopped, because it would be a great shame to lose out on more films like this, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, and obviously Warner Brothers is not just, you know, restored, has restored films from our video, you know, Criterion release from them. You've also got the archive collection, which I'm really missing at the moment, and yeah, other Blu-ray labels have obviously used them as well. So yeah, it would be a great shame to have one of the massive studios completely have their catalogue sealed off and put behind a paywall on a streaming service. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, get out there and get this film if you haven't already. But if you have seen it, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.